Numbers. You see them everywhere, right? On your clock, your phone, and your bank account. We kind of take them for granted. But what if I told you they're not just for counting? What if they're actually stories, secret codes, and even fossils of history just hiding in plain sight? And yeah, sometimes they're a complete mystery. I mean, if you've been on the internet at all recently, you've probably heard this or at least seen it spammed in the comments. 6-7. What on earth does that even mean? All right, let's get into it. So our story is going to start right here with this very modern puzzle. We're going to trace how a number went from a rap song to a full-on global trend. So where did this thing even come from? Well, you can pinpoint it to a surprisingly specific moment. It all kicked off with a song from 2024 by a rapper named Skrilla. The song's called Doot Doot, but the part that really caught fire was this simple chanted ad-lib, 6-7. And from that one song, boom, it just exploded. TikTok, of course, was the rocket fuel. The phrase got linked to the 6'7" basketball star LaMelo Ball, who people started calling the 6'7" kid. Pretty soon, it jumps offline. You had people yelling it at games, in videos, basically anywhere you needed a jolt of energy. It became this pure, unfiltered hype. So, what is the deep, hidden meaning behind 6-7? After all that hype, the answer is absolutely nothing. Seriously, it has no definition, no secret message, and that's the whole point. Its power comes from the fact that it's completely empty. It's just a blank space you can fill with excitement. And that total lack of meaning is actually the perfect jumping-off point for where we're going next. We're about to pivot from a number that means nothing at all to numbers that have carried the weight of human belief for, well, thousands of years. I mean, just look at this contrast. It's wild. On one side, you've got the meme, it's fleeting, it's a trend, and it means absolutely nothing. And on the other, you have the ancient biblical view of the exact same numbers. And there, they represent this huge cosmic battle between humanity and the divine, between being flawed and being perfect. So in biblical numerology, the number 6 is basically the number of humanity. Why? Well, the story goes that humans were created on the 6th day. So 6 represents our work, our struggle, but also our flaws, our imperfections. It's the number that's always falling just a little bit short of divine. And then you have 7. 7 is the complete opposite. It's God's number. It stands for divine perfection, for wholeness, for completion. You know, after creating for 6 days, God rested on the 7th. That made 7 the ultimate symbol of fulfillment. So where 6 is the struggle, 7 is the resolution. Okay, so numbers aren't just symbols. Sometimes they leave actual physical traces. They can become these little fossils buried deep inside the words we use every single day without even thinking about it. I want you to think about this for a sec, because it's kind of weird when you do. We say 4th, 5th, 6th. So why don't we say 3th? Why is it 3rd? The answer is basically the ghost of a sound from a language nobody's spoken for thousands of years. All right, this might sound a little academic, but stick with me, because it's super cool. The whole reason is a linguistic rule called Werner's Law. Basically, it's a rule that explains weird exceptions in how sounds change over time. It says that if a soft consonant sound, like th, comes after a part of a word that isn't stressed, it can harden into a voiced sound, like d. We actually have a linguist who breaks it down perfectly. The ancient ancestor of our word third was something like tritios. Now, the key thing to know is that the stress, the accent, wasn't on that first syllable. Because of that, an original T sound first softened to a th, and then, boom, Werner's Law kicked in and turned that th into the hard D sound that we still say today. And you can see the whole journey right here, step by step. It starts as tretios. One sound law turns that T into a th. But then, because of where that ancient accent was, Werner's Law kicks in and voices the th into a da. And then over hundreds and thousands of years, it evolves through Proto-Germanic and Old English, but that da sound, that ancient exception to the rule, it survives all the way into the word third. It's a literal linguistic fossil. All right, from ancient words, let's zoom out, way out, to the huge, invisible structures of our modern world. Because today, numbers don't just describe our world, they literally create the blueprint for how it all works. Just think about something we all do without a second thought. Calling someone. How is it even possible to call someone on the other side of the planet? The answer is this quiet, global agreement that's built entirely on numbers, the system of international dialing codes. This system literally carves up the entire planet into 9 zones. You've got Zone 1 for North America, Zone 2 for most of Africa, and so on. And hey, look at that. Our numbers pop right back up. Zone 6 covers Southeast Asia and Oceania. Think Australia, Malaysia. And Zone 7, that's Russia and its neighbors. It's a completely invisible map drawn with numbers that makes our connected world possible.
Okay, so we've seen numbers as memes, as ancient symbols, as fossils in our words, and as a blueprint for the globe. For this last step, we're going to the deepest level of all, to the very edge of reality, where numbers are explored just for the sake of it.
See, for a pure mathematician, a number isn't just a tool you use. It's an object, as real as a planet or a star, and it has its own properties, its own behaviors, its own secrets. And studying these objects, that's called number theory. It's like a quest to understand the fundamental logic of the universe itself. And believe me, that quest gets mind-bendingly complex. You don't need to understand a single symbol on this page from a math thesis. Just look at it. The title mentions elliptic curves. This is a field of math that finds these profound links between algebra and geometry, and it's actually the foundation for stuff like the cryptography that keeps the internet secure. And here's the really beautiful part. What mathematicians find are these hidden connections. This slide mentions the Shimura-Taniyama conjecture. This was a wild idea that basically built a bridge between two areas of math that everyone thought were completely separate worlds. It revealed the secret unity, a hidden story that only the numbers could tell. So let's just pause for a second and think about the trip we've just been on. We started with 6-7, a viral chant that means literally nothing. And from there, we dove into ancient symbols of good and evil. We found fossils hidden in our language. We uncovered the blueprint for global communication. And we ended up at the very edge of mathematical reality. And what this all really shows us is that numbers aren't just cold, hard facts. They are packed with meaning, with history, and with deep mystery. Every single number, from the one on your house to the ones running the internet, has a story to tell. So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. The world around you is just full of these hidden stories, all written in the language of numbers. So, what stories are the numbers in your life just waiting to tell?